The survival of Alexander Selkirk for years as a castaway on an uninhabited island in the 18th century was one of the era's most gripping real-life adventures. It attracted significant attention and became a key inspiration behind the fictional Robinson Crusoe. Below are some fascinating facts about that and other skin-of-the-teeth survival stories from history. Selkirk was an experienced sailor, but due to a dispute with his captain, he was marooned on an island. At first, he stayed along the shoreline, barely surviving on lobsters and scanning the horizon in hopes of rescue by a passing ship. Food was more plentiful inland: turnips, spices, and most importantly, feral goats. He was finally rescued by a British ship in 1709, by which time he barely remembered how to speak. On the morning of August 6, 1945, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries employee Suomu Yamaguchi was going about his work while on an out-of-town business trip. Unfortunately, the business trip was to Hiroshima. He was there when a B-29 dropped an atomic bomb on that city. The blast blinded him temporarily, ruptured his eardrums, and inflicted serious burns on his upper body. Nonetheless, Yamaguchi survived. Heavily bandaged, Yamaguchi reported for work on the morning of August 9th in Nagasaki. He was just describing the Hiroshima atomic blast to a supervisor when a B-29 dropped an atomic bomb on Nagasaki. Yamaguchi might have been one of history's unluckiest individuals, considering that he had an atomic bomb dropped on him twice. Either way, Tsutomu Yamaguchi recovered fully and lived until 2010, when he died at the ripe old age of 93. During World War II, many airmen were forced by dire necessity to jump or fell out of airplanes thousands of feet up in the air without parachutes. Most died upon impact, but a lucky few miraculously survived. One such was RAF Flight Sergeant Nicholas Stephen Alkmaid, who was serving as a rear gunner in an Avro Lancaster heavy bomber. The enemy attack set Alkmaid's plane aflame. Alkmaid's parachute was burned in the fire, so he jumped out of bomber, preferring to die by impact rather than get burned to death. He fell 18,000 feet to the ground, yet survived. Franos Celak of Croatia has often been labeled the world's luckiest unlucky man. Unlucky because he faced more than his fair share of horrific mishaps and accidents. His record of mishaps includes being in a train that derailed and plunged into a river. He was in a bus that skidded off a road and fell into a river. He was blown out of an airplane. His car erupted into flames while he was driving, twice. He was hit by a bus. His car hit a guardrail and plunged 300 feet off a cliff. Then in 2003, fate finally decided to do Selak a solid with no strings attached. He won in the lottery, equivalent to $1.1 million. In 1912, former President Theodore Roosevelt had come to regret his decision to leave the White House in 1908. He made his way to a podium at the Milwaukee Auditorium and opened with the unremarkable statement, "I don't know whether you fully understand that I have been shot." TR unbuttoned his vest to reveal a blood-stained shirt beneath and demonstrate his lucky escape from death. Teddy Roosevelt's assassination had been attempted at 8 p.m. as he got into an open-air car outside his hotel and waved his hat at the crowd. The culprit, a deranged Bavarian immigrant named John Flamang Schrank, would have been lynched on the spot if Roosevelt had not intervened to save his life. Later, Schrank was found legally insane and institutionalized until his death in 1943.